All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to look at two on this one. Rivian was not planned, I'll be real honest with you, but it had such an interesting day in terms of the PR, in terms of the volume. It's a little bit hard to ignore, and I had to cover it on this one, all right? Not as big of a close as I would have expected. Again, there's always a little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news when such a big PR drops. And obviously, I'll get you more details about my thoughts. But oh man, I really like how these lower indicators are setting up. I really like the PR as well, right? It was connected to a big company, it was connected to a monster dollar, right? I mean, there was a lot to like with it. And as much as I always caution the doji, and I do, and I still will on this video, right? It's starting to feel like this might be ready to break all five and fly. It's tried. Might be ready to and try and do this time, right? So Rivian, like I said, I haven't been looking at this thing. I was not even planning on recording it today. I kind of thought I had to. Workhorse was the other one that I wanted to cover. Oh, I gotta go to oh, I think I put it here. So first off, Workhorse. We've been looking at Workhorse since the 80 cent range. I talking about the 50 moving average. We've been looking at this thing since pretty much late September. You know what I mean? So it took a while, and then you can see it on the charts battling with that 50 moving average. It finally made the move that we were looking for. The red turned into that green. All right. There was a real interesting this. Okay, someone shared this with me on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and feel free to pause this and read it if you want. But basically, it says JD Vance owns some shares of Workhorse. He's also scheduled to visit Ohio, which is, his state, his hometown state, right? So again, look, I'm always here to find the connections that help me, right? And help the ticker and all this stuff. So that adds a very little interesting nugget to this. Earnings. Can I say it one more time just in case you missed those 50 right there? Earnings, all right? All of this is going to be really dependent on what happens with earnings on Workhorse. There's a lot more red to quickly get filled if earnings are good. There is a lot of red that it's done before, and it's ready to do more if earnings are bad. All right, so this will home run or drop, right? Like, not all earnings do that, right? Not all of them take those like 50% jumps or 20% dives, right? But those kind of parabolic ones that I look at and I love, and you do too, right? Like, oh, that's why we do this stuff, right? So just remember, I'm going to talk about the technicals, but you got to see what earnings does and what the reaction does, okay? I can't stress that enough. Before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, and then let me just go back to Ribbon. What are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. They're down here. I'm going to have to draw a couple up here, but I do have some horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we're going to use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's talk about Rivian. You would have thought that before I hit record, I would have had the headline. Let's just Google it real quick. Rivian Volkswagen joint venture. Look at that. Okay, so this was the big headline. You can see a day ago, 7 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 11 minutes ago. This thing is still fresh. This is a brand new, juicy story. Volkswagen, 5.8 billion. All right, I mentioned big company, big dollar. All right, I think it's really easy to to undermine Volkswagen. I don't know what the word is, but Volkswagen is a juggernaut. It is a conglomerate juggernaut across any industry, not just a car, right? Like Volkswagen could go up against one of the biggest food companies, one of the biggest, shipping company, whatever industry you want to pick. Like Volkswagen is, they got enough to put 5.8 billion in some company. You know what I mean? And I say some company with love in terms of Rivian, right? So when a smaller company connects itself to a bigger one, I said those exact same words with so many different, because I've seen so many of these moments, right? Really, really interesting things happen. I think the other part is this dollar amount, okay? Look, I'm just a regular dude. I've got a full-time job. I for sure I'm not making any crazy money, right? When I see headlines talking about $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, it's easy to think to yourself, "Oh, that's a big, big number." Look, in the corporate world, let's go back to the charts while I say these words, right? In the corporate world, $1 million goes quick, right? A couple hundred grand is probably the executive bonus, and right there, you've just lost like 30% of it. There's all these corporate dinners, and they're flying all these, they're just burning and wasting. Well, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, money goes quick. When the headline is 100 million plus, when it's 1 billion, 2 billion, 5 point something billion, that's when the PR starts to get juicy. All right. Now, look, I know this is a very, very interesting doji. And I think it's really easy to focus on the peak of 13 dropping to all the way down here, right? I imagine a lot of this, yeah, this was the first 15-minute candle, right? The excitement came, the hype came, the RSI got as high as 93, all right? To go from a 93 all the way down to a 25 and basically still trying to hold that, that's not too shabby right there. Where's the hourly at? Hourly hasn't even lost the eight moving average yet, right? It's definitely under it, but it hasn't confirmed by any means, right? So yeah, when your 15-minute pops and you get a 93 RSI, you're gonna need a cool down. It would have been nicer if that point right there bounced and went back up, right? But yeah, overall, look, I might be a little too cavalier with my thoughts. I might be looking at the news and the PR a little bit more than some technical dude should be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to put fundamental smiley faces. I'm here to put technical smiley faces, right? But um I like the headline. I do. And I think I like it so much more cuz it's Volkswagen just man, they've got deep pockets and they can fund whatever they need. You know what I mean? So what are we looking for? I mentioned a little bit before. I'm going to mention it again. This thing's been trying to, and arguably so, it has. It has been trying to break all five and fly. All right. There was a real nice move from 15 all the way up to what? It's not as high as I thought I was, but look, that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful climb right there, right? Was there some Nasdaq stuff? QQQ around July. Yeah, look at that, right? As Rivian was going, Nasdaq and QQQ drop. Obviously, Rivian's going to have to follow, right? I think if the markets didn't get horrible right there, that probably would have actually confirmed broken all five and flown. You know what I mean? So this was a true break and go. It's just, again, I always say, if the indices are bad, the little boats aren't going to go that far in the ocean, right? So, that's disappointing, but hey, that is what the market is, right? But we've been trying. We did it. And then again, we've been trying. I think we're going to do it again. And again, maybe I'm being a little too cavalier because we definitely still need a lot more, but this feels legit here. I think no, that's too low. Can't use that. Okay, depending on your risk tolerance, I think you can use $13.46. Let's call it 13.50. Let me draw 13.50. Actually, I really like that line actually. It is 1340-ish, right? But it's the bottom of this, it's half of that, it's half of that, it's the bottom of that, it's kind of the top of that. I think that's a big line right there. I wish there was just a little bit more spacing. I probably would love it at 14. I think 14 gives me a little bit more, but hey, this isn't really a cluster, right? It's not a cluster. Like, there's some nice spacing. I'm cool with that line. I'm going to set a 1360 alert. Little bit above, but definitely a little bit below the 14 I just mentioned right there. I think Rivian's hungry. You know I'm going to love it if it breaks all five and fly, right? Did this thing have earnings yet? Give me a second. I'm going to grab my phone. Let me just take a quick peek. Rivian, have you done earnings yet? Oh, you did have earnings. You already had earnings. The earnings was on this candle right here. Earnings has passed, and you just got an amazing, beautiful PR headline. Oh, yeah, for sure. I love it at 14. I'm happy with that alert. Look, let's take a look at the lower indicators down here. MACD is not quite in the positive. It's definitely just under the dashes, right? But that's a nice divergence. RSI has that same divergence. That's a really low 63. The question right now, I think, is a lot going to be volume. All right. We went from, let's call it 30. Oh, it was literally 30. It was 31. We went from 30 to almost 120, right? That's a 4x move. Just doing 3 times 4 is 12, right? Um, that's not a crazy pump. Like, I think it's a pump when it's around like times 10, times 11. But really the question is going to be, can we hold and go, right? We've done it before. And I zoomed out and I saw this right here. But we've been down here and then gone after, right? So it actually does know how to do it. And my goodness, green, red, get me over that line. And there's a lot to like. I think the line after will probably be that right there. Cool. That's also the top of that. Looks like that's the bottom of that. I kind of just took it from the line right there. But yeah, 1340 and then 1550, I think, are the two lines up. Again, at this point, it feels, look, let me end it here because again, I am being way too cavalier. Let's talk about there's always two sides of the coin. Let's talk about what happens if bad things happen. We have not confirmed the 50 moving average. We are clearly over it. We clearly gapped up over it in the morning and opened right here. We clearly closed above it. We have not confirmed this line. We have not been anywhere over that line since all the way back here in early August, right? So there is a very real potential that we lose 1125 very quickly and fall maybe down to 1070, okay? Maybe we just come down to 1125, hold the 50, and then use that to bounce, okay? Otherwise, like I said, I'm hunting the break of all of them. Get me over that 1340 line, and it seems like a go in my eyes. Where's the weekly at real quick? Let's take a look at the weekly. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, this I actually didn't know, but you can see how much more I like this line now. We have two moving averages right here on the weekly. Get me over this line, and look at that. The line above is the gap on the hunt. Oh man, I hope you don't think I practiced that before I clicked it, but it doesn't actually get any cleaner than that. My goodness. And again, I think that just screams the last comment. If we break this, oh my goodness, but please don't be thinking above this just yet. All right, we're here to set some good, realistic expectations. As they do better than what we expect, we reevaluate and reset them. All right, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. What was the next one? It was Workhorse. Okay, so Workhorse has been a really interesting one. All right, and I will be real honest, and I think I'm saying this more for the Discord people than anything. I did not hold Workhorse long enough, and I'm watching this thing run, and I'm like laughing at myself a little bit. Hey, knock on wood, other tickers have done me well, and in general, I think that's what helps me, right? I miss so many more than I catch, especially the ones that I've been looking at for a while, right? But yeah, man, this Workhorse just took so long for me. Crazy battle with the 50 moving average, but it finally broke and it finally did what we were expecting it to. All right, so let me at least go back a while because, like I said, we've been talking about Workhorse for a while. Let me. There was a PR that I really wanted to show. Man, I thought I would find it by okay, look. There's a couple that I know there was some sort of Amazon connection with work. I can't even go through my phone. Dang. There's like sometimes there's things I want to talk about, but I don't know what it is. Look, there was a lot of real PR and real news during the battle of the 50 moving averages. If you go back and look from middle of October basically through just this early November, there were probably 3 or 4 really good headlines that I know I bought right here and probably sold in one of these, like for sure. It looked so ready to go. MACD, RSI, we just never got the volume. It finally came here, right? But my goodness, I was just a couple, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of it, right? Um, the really interesting one, and again, I showed it at the beginning of the video. Let me show it again. Is this one? And I don't really know if this was. First of all, I don't know how real this is. If someone can like validate that, that would be real awesome. And really, the important part is this. I really don't care about the raise in price target from J&M. First of all, I have no idea if that's like Jack and Mark, the dudes down the street. Or I have no idea who that J&M are, right? Like I could not care less, right? I have no idea what their time frame is, this and that, right? I don't. This means nothing. This is the juicy part, all right? The guy that's about to be the vice president, all right? He has some shares. He's going to visit the plant, and it's his hometown. And he's looking for revitalization efforts in the industry. All right, listen, that's a it's a long sentence, maybe 2 sentences, but oh, those are some powerful, powerful, powerful things for, again, I say it with love, for a very small, up and coming, relatively insignificant company like Workhorse Group. All right. I don't know if that's what made it pop or not, but man, that's a wild thing to get connected on. All right. When I look at Workhorse, and sorry, I'm grabbing my phone just to make sure I say this correctly. Earnings are tomorrow and they're actually before market. Okay. Earnings will be in the morning and we will very, very, very quickly see, will this thing continue and will it not? And look, as you zoom out, there is so much red. This thing will either fly to probably here around 2, maybe even break 2 and go all the way to 270. All right, there is so much red, 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 and green, 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 and red. Like that's just a crazy fast channel. You know what I mean? Or, or we're probably gonna come back to here to 90 cents. I think that's the one too. Maybe even a little lower to 80 cents. Basically back to that 50 moving average battle that we were looking at before this thing took off. But yeah, I think that's my one too. It's either $2, maybe even 270, or 90, maybe even 80. I think that's the one two right there. All right. Now, I don't know exactly what to expect. I don't know how much money they're actually making just yet. What I think I'd be looking for is either guidance of new contracts, guidance of some of these newer PRs that they've pushed that are like doing well and like good pod like this. I think this is more about the guidance for next year than it really is the numbers of today. That's just my best guess. But again, our human opinions don't matter. It is 100% about the market reaction. All right. So that JD Vance thing, that's a little bit on the interesting side. I'm really hoping to get some good comments and confirmation from the viewers. But let me know your thoughts. I'm not looking at the weekly because this is all about tomorrow morning's earnings, and then we can look beyond that. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.